Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of Terraform. My name is Chia from DevOps Easy Learning. Today we'll be going through Terraform variable, especially the number of variables, right? And why are we going to, in which case you can basically use a number variable? Let's say you want to create an EC2 instance, but you don't just want to create one, you want to create multiple EC2 instances. What can happen is that you can kind of create a variable and put the type equal number. And within your Terraform code, you can use the count meta argument and kind of refer the number variables so that Terraform will go ahead and create the number of instances that you wish. Or you can always use the len function here, right? Let's say you can have a subnet, you have something, you want to create a VPC, and you want to create like 3 public and 3 private subnet. You can kind of use the length of the private subnet and kind of pass that as a count, and Terraform will go ahead and say if you want 3 public subnet, Terraform will use the len function and count and make sure that you basically go ahead and automate everything as accordingly, right? Now, let me click here. And is this going to take me into my GitHub repository where I have a sample code that we'll be using. I will also make sure that I add the link of this repository in the description below, so that if you want to follow up and do exactly what I'm doing here, you are more than welcome to do so. Let me go ahead and click on the first example here and see what we might have in here. But I will just go ahead and make sure that I can clone this code and use it in within VS Code. Here, I will just go ahead here and grab the link, and I've checked out this code already and I have it local. Let me go ahead and kind of pull up my terminal. Now I'll type my ZSH here to configure my terminal, and ls cd. I'm going to code here and encode. This is basically the root of the repository, and I'm going to cd in this particular location, and ls. If you type pwd, it basically take me into the first example, and I'll go ahead here and move back 1 step so that I can open both examples that I have here. If you say code, I can go ahead. What happened? ls. Yep, I can go ahead here and type code and set that here to open my VS Code where I am right now. And I basically have this example 1 and example 2 here. But let's see what is going on here. With this, I kind of have a provider. I have a Terraform block here, and here I set up a variable, and that variable type is called a number, right? And I want to create an EC2 instance here. What's going on here is that I want to use the count meta argument here to create that EC2 instance. And what is the count meta argument here? Let's say you want to create 3 EC2 instances or 4 EC2 instances. Are you just going to duplicate this code 3 times, 5 times to create 5? The answer is not. Instead of that, you can use this count meta argument in Terraform that will allow you to go ahead and create a number of instances that you wish, right? In this case, basically, I want to go ahead and create 2 instances, right? And I set the number to be 2. And here I can pass that count meta argument here and say count equal var.example number. And the example number, it is basically this variable. And Terraform will make sure that you go ahead and create 2 instances, which are going to be with the same configuration that we have here. As you can see, we tag here. When you use the count meta argument, please make sure that on the tag name, because this will be the VM, the VM name, that you use the count.index plus 1, which means it will go ahead and take here, like we say count. The first instance, it will start with which index 0. When you say plus 1, that means you want to say VM1. Another one, you say VM2. If you just say count.index, it's going to start with 0, 1, and so on. But if you say plus 1, you want to say VM1, VM2, and so on. But just count.index, it was going to start, if you say plus 0 or count.index, that is fine. The first VM will be VM-0, VM-2, VM-1, VM-2, and so on. When you say count.index plus 1, let me repeat it again. It means it's going to take 0 plus 1, which is 1, right? You have 1, the next one will be 2, another one will be 3, and so forth. Now, let me go ahead here and kind of fire this example up, and we'll see how it's going to name this VM and how many VMs it's going to create. If you go ahead here and say ls, I can cd here into example 1 and just go ahead and initialize this with Terraform init. And it will go ahead and initialize everything. It will download the module and store it local, and it will not perform any further action. And after that, I'll go ahead here and type Terraform plan. And we'll see here that it's going to create 2 resources, which is just 2 VM because count is equal to 2. I can go ahead here and say Terraform apply. And this is going to take a while. And very soon, it will launch everything in AWS. Let me go ahead here and type yes. I was a little bit distracted. And it can start launching the resource in AWS. And if we go to AWS and we hit S3 and we hit EC2, we'll see that it is launching. EC2. We see here that it is launching. So we will launch 2 EC2 instances. Those are coming up. One is called VM1, another one is called VM2, as I explained. If it was scan.index, we will have VM-0 and VM-1. That means we want to start with 0, right? And those are coming up, and we can see exactly what we want. Right now, for sure, it is done. I will just go ahead and destroy that. Terraform destroy. And tap yes to confirm. You can always use the auto approve function. And let me just check the example too. In this example here, we basically have what we say. Okay, description, the number of bucket. We want to create 3 bucket, and the tab is just equal what? The tab is the number. The default value here, it is 3. And here, what is the bucket name? We say the bucket name. We want to say count. Count equal var.bucket, which means we want to create 3 buckets, right? And that bucket, we say example.bucket, and we say count.index plus 1. That means the first bucket will be example -bucket -1. Another one will be example -bucket -2, right? You guys can go ahead and try this example on your own, but make sure that you come up with a good name here so that this name will be unique in all AWS account. You can just make sure you can use something like the random string, and you can use the random string here and just go ahead and make sure that you use a random provider. With a random provider, you can generate a random string also and append here so that it's going to create a unique bucket in our AWS account, right? That's it for this video, guys. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.